So children, we will begin with the famous Mauryan administration now. And still there are many researches which have happened over this topic, and still even foreign universities have included this in their curriculum, that in those times, I am repeating myself repeatedly, but it was a wonder how this thing could survive. Chandragupta Maurya, with the help of his mentor Chanakya, laid down these rules of administration, examples of which we find in Arthashastra also. Bindusar made very minor changes in this system. Bindusar didn't make any changes in the administrative setup laid down by Chandragupta Maurya. Ashoka made certain changes because this empire again grew in his time period. But more or less, they followed what Chandragupta Maurya had decided with the help of Chanakya. And their administration is divided in two parts, civil and military. So when we will be talking about Mauryan administration, we will be talking about civil and military administration. Till date, children, civil things we all know, like I can give you example of courts. We have civil court, we have criminal court. So civil matters of daily life, when we talk about, they are there. So let's begin with the civil administration, and we are on page 47, children. So pick up the pencils. Civil administration had two main divisions, underline: the central government and the provincial government. Federal government, you have read this, two-way government, one in center, one in states. But states were known as provinces, I have told you in the beginning of the chapter. So one government in the center, one government in the provinces. But it's not that they were free to do whatever they want. You will be reading just now. Now central government. We'll underline whenever I will tell you to. And start underlining. Mauryan government was centralized and was managed by several officers of different ranks. Centralized means power was centered in, you know the answer, Chandragupta Maurya. Decisions were taken over there. Decisions were made known to people from there only. There was no confusion about it, that who will take decision. And this is how the good governments run. The king was supreme authority, start underlining, and his throne was hereditary. After father, son will become the ruler. He was also the supreme judge. Megasthenes underlined, the Greek ambassador at the court of Chandragupta Maurya, in his book Indica, and Chanakya in the Arthashastra tell us about Mauryan administration. You have already done. Sources of administration, Arthashastra and Indica. And as I said before, it is written over here, Ashoka brought some changes in the system of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya had made provisions of Mahamatya. Amatya, in fact, was the name. Amatya means ministers. Mahamatya, prime ministers. And these Mahamatya, or they were like you have state ministers, cabinet ministers kind of a thing. They were bigger in rank. So these Mahamatya were appointed by Ashok for the spread of religion also. They became Dhamma Mahamatya, and they were there to see that people follow Buddhism, or not Buddhism, rather Ashoka had his own Dhamma, you will read later on, in which he talked about how to lead good life, and rules were very simple. He was talking about good manners, about ahimsa, about taking care of the younger ones, not being cruel, taking care of the old and elderly. So he appointed Dharma Mahamatra, which no king had appointed before or after, so to speak. So we are on page 47. Second paragraph, start underlining. At the central level, the king assisted by the council of ministers, Mantri Parishad. In the beginning only I told you, we are still following many of the things which are there in Mauryan administration, and you read it. Mantri Parishad, council of ministers, we still have. And these ministers had several departments, headed by a prime minister. Each minister was responsible for his own department. I hope you are underlining. The council of ministers included chief pujari of the state called Purohit, Senapati, who advised the king on matters related to war and peace. The head treasurer was called Sanagita, and treasurer is finance minister, the one who had money in his hand. So Samaharta, the taxation expert, can you see the detailing? There were people who were taking care of religious matter, there were people who were taking care of the armed forces, there were people who were taking care of finance and taxation. So we are talking about 4th century BC, children. You are sitting in 2021. Still we talk about these people. It's not that these people are not there. Yes, religious heads are not part of government anymore, but they are there in the society. It's not that they are not there. The other important officers were accountant general, one in charge of agriculture, superintendent of mines, superintendent of ports, controller of commerce, as well as superintendent of weights and measures. You can make a list of these officers, children. It will be easier for you to learn, and paste this list in the book over here only, so that it becomes easier for you to look at them, because they can ask you name of any 2 officers or who were the Amatsya were ministers. But I believe you can well imagine in most of the areas of civil administration we are following the same thing what he was doing. Now we come to provincial government, children. Ashoka made alterations, changes only in the central government and not in the provincial government. Such good rules were made that they continued for years to come, and still we are following. During his grandfather's time there were 4 provinces, and after the addition of Kaling, the Ashoka's time, there were 5 provinces, which are Magad, Kandhar, Avanti, southern provinces, and Kali. So you have this list in the box over there. There is no need to underline. You know this is important. Now, last paragraph, page 47. Please underline. Head of the province was called Kumar or Aryaputra, and they were, I think you can understand, they were princes. Only princes could be appointed. Now again see, from the central government, king is the supreme head. When we come to provincial head, then also king's family is ruling. There is a direct control. Central government is not letting provincial government do whatever they want. I think you remember I told you that when Bindusar was ruling, Kumar, Ashok, he went to Takshila to quell the rebellion. Then, according to some rock and pillar edicts of Ashok, besides the Mahamatra, other officers took part in the administration of provinces. Start underlining. Pradeshik collected taxes. Rajuk performed the functions of modern day Tehsildar. Yukta was the treasurer. Again, all posts which we have today, they were there. Now, from the central government, we come to provinces. Now, district administration. Districts were known as Janpads. Still we use this word, children. Just see the similarity. And these administration was looked after by Pradeshik, Rajuk and Yukta, which we read few minutes back. Administration of city. Now again we are coming down to city. We still have cities. Important cities, capital of provinces, they had their own administrative system, like you have DM, you have commissioners. Similarly, they also had, and this was known as, children, we are on page 48, heading administration of city, line number 5, Nagaradhyaksh, Nagar Adhyaksh, Sandhi and Nagaradhyaksh. The one who was Adhyaksh, the one who was supposed to take care of the Nagar. So huge cities, big cities, like we have metro cities, they were taken care by Nagar Adhyaksh. Revenue system, revenue system was very strong. They had money, obviously, and this money became the reason of the prosperity, became the reason of the happiness, one of the reason rather I would say, in Mauryan Empire, about which he is known as. And their taxation system is still I told you in the beginning that it is part of syllabus of the many foreign universities, the way they managed. Just see and underline. Line number 3, the revenue system. It was 1/6 to 1/4 of the produce. Two kinds of taxes named Bali and Bhagya were mentioned in the edicts of Ashok. Bhag was levied on agricultural produce and the cattle at the rate of 1/6. According to Vincent Smith and Shamshastri, they are historians, Bali was a religious tribute, meaning thereby people used to give out of their own will, contribute in the like donations we give for the in the name of the god. Toll tax, we know, which was imposed on articles which were brought for sale. Taxes were levied. Levied is put upon. Wherever tax, there are some jargon. The words which are related with that particular subject only, or that particular field. So wherever tax will be there, levy, you will be levies put upon. Tax levied on liquor shops and gambling houses. People went over there. Some taxes were collected from forest and mines. From the revenue collected, the state provided various facilities like roads, irrigation, hospitals, met other expenses of state, and I believe you can recall, still we pay income tax, variety of tax. Now this GST has come, earlier there were many, but with tax money only development takes place. I would like you to tell you just now the kind of taxes they had. Please make a list again, like Bali and Bhag, toll tax, sales tax, and make a list, and this paper you will paste in the book so that you save on time while revising. And spy system, they are very famous, and they used to roam around in the entire city in disguise, and if people, dishonesty was not allowed in any way, and dishonest people and those who took bribe, all these people were punished. There were severe punishments. He could run such a foolproof system because of the help of these spies only, who were very loyal to the king. So high morale of the people. Why they were loyal? Because they liked their king, the way king was doing things. So this spy system, I would say, was the backbone of the administration of Chandragupta Maurya. In next video, we will talk about military administration.